Well, next, Bridges, Burnham and Butler for Mayor, all up for discussion on our political programme, The Late Debate. Tonight, let's check in with Simon Harris in our Westminster studio.
On tonight's programme, we'll ask, why are Thames River crossings so troublesome? There's a weight limit on Vauxhall Bridge. Albert Bridge is closed to traffic, and earlier this month we learnt there's still no money to fix Hammersmith Bridge, more than 7 years after cars, buses and lorries were banned. One of the MPs in the studio with me is Sarah Olney, whose constituents in Richmond now have to travel miles to cross the river by car. We'll also look ahead to what London can expect from the new Prime Minister. Andy Burnham says he'll give the Mayor new powers, but will the man known as the King of the North really have the capital's best interests at heart? And with Sadiq Khan still being coy about his future plans, I'll ask another of my guests, the MP Dawn Butler, if she still hopes to be London's next Mayor. That's The Late Debate here on ITV1 after news at 10.
Good evening. With the temperatures soaring again, the temptation to cool down can be irresistible. But the warnings are clear. London's rivers can pose severe risks and could prove fatal. But today, as temperatures reached over 30 degrees in the capital, ITV News London caught on camera people ignoring that advice, with swimmers jumping into the water at Royal Victoria Docks in East London, the same spot a teenage boy died only last week. Our correspondent Simon Harris has our top story.
As the temperature soared, some Londoners took the plunge. This was the Royal Victoria Dock in Newham. Swimming is banned here, but that didn't deter Patricia and Elsa, who were unaware a 13-year-old boy drowned in the dock 10 days ago.
I love water, but not too much cleaner. But it's good.
Did you see the sign saying no swimming?
Yes, I swim.
A small beach tucked away in Newham, East London. This place had me feeling like I was in the Bahamas.
The beach on the edge of the dock has been featured on social media. This TikTok was enough to encourage Lily and her sister, but it didn't live up to expectations and they decided not to go in.
I was on TikTok, I saw it and I was like to my sister, I said, let's go, it's going to be fun. And then we turned up and it was like, right.
Although the beach looks inviting, gently shelving into deeper water, there is a sudden drop invisible from the surface. The 13-year-old who drowned is thought to have gone into the water to retrieve a football when he got into difficulties. Since that tragedy, more no swimming signs have appeared along the side of the dock. As well as the new signs, there are additional life rings. The heat forced Londoners to improvise. This security guard in the city used an umbrella as a parasol. So how hot is it?
I don't know, I don't look at the temperature.
About 34, I should think.
At Horse Guards, tourists were feeling the heat, but not as much as the soldiers and their mounts. They at least were allowed to carry out their duties in the shade instead of on the pavement.
That would be hot.
That would be
hot, for sure.
They're better than we are. We couldn't do that.
We walked past here a few days ago and they were outside. Now you can see they're in the shade.
I can imagine how hard it is to be in uniform and all sorts of, attire.
At an NHS call centre near Gatwick, extra staff and managers were needed to answer the hotlines.
We are seeing a lot of calls from elderly. Of course, they don't cope with the heat as well. We end up with dehydration. I'd also say, particularly evenings, weekends, you get a lot of younger people who are out drinking.
Shadwell Basin in East London is another popular swimming spot during a heatwave, and this afternoon it was busy. Again, the warning signs were ignored. Simon Harris, ITV News, Shadwell.
Now, anyone who uses the Dartford crossing won't need reminding how bad the journey can be. The route between Essex and Kent was never designed to carry 55 million vehicles each year, but its alternative is stirring up controversy. Some claim the Lower Thames crossing will cost more per mile than HS2, and people living along the route face big disruption. But the project's boss told us the £11 billion road is essential to tackle the gridlock. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
Welcome to my view of the Lower Thames crossing. It's going to get quite busy, I think, at the end of my garden.
Mark's got a front row seat to a piece of civil engineering history and he's not happy. Britain's biggest road project is being built next to his back garden on the outskirts of Gravesend.
The only reason we moved here was because it was backing onto open fields, farmland, so we had a different crop every year. And it's just a lovely, quiet place to live.
Work on the scheme is also underway north of the river in East Tilbury. This is where engineers will start digging the first of the 2 tunnels under the Thames.
It will be the largest tunnel we build in the UK, or we've ever built in the UK actually, and it will The tunnel boring machine will head south onto the river and then turn around and come back. And then in the future, what you'll see is a road heading off into the distance, alleviating the congestion at Dartford.
The 15-mile road is being built to ease congestion on the M25, especially at the existing Dartford crossing.
It's critical for moving goods from the Channel ports all the way through to the north of England and to Scotland. We all know what the Dartford crossing is like at the moment. It is an absolute nightmare at times, and we need to be able to see some relief for that crossing.
But it's a controversial and expensive project. More than £1 billion was spent on planning the scheme, and the estimated final cost is now around £11 billion. The government is hoping private investors will fund the bulk of it.
Per mile, Lower Thames Crossing is actually more expensive than HS2.
Rebecca campaigns for sustainable transport and has a message for the new Prime Minister.
We're hoping that Andy Burnham will re-look at this afresh with a new set of eyes and say, is this delivering value for money for the taxpayer? Is it a good idea to be privatising national assets? Whilst we're nationalising the railways, it's incoherent. It's incoherent transport policy and it's incoherent economic policy.
The chief executive of the new crossing dismisses the comparison with HS2.
We're building the Lower Thames Crossing because of the congestion at Dartford and 55 million users getting delayed every year. HS2 is a very different project, and they just really can't be compared.
The Lower Thames Crossing could also spell the end of a unique campsite in Essex, where campers pay to enjoy the wildlife.
We've got water vole, we've got owl, we've got kestrel, we've got shell ducks, we've got shrill carnaby, we've got everything. We have skylarks in season.
The campsite is under threat of compulsory purchase, so the land can be used as an environmental mitigation to the road scheme. The irony of turning it into a nature reserve is not lost on the owners.
We can't see how they can justify that because we are a wildlife campsite. We've been a wildlife campsite long before they started doing the road.
The government still needs to persuade private investors to pay for the tunnel, and it could be another decade before the first drivers begin paying their tolls to use the new crossing. Simon Harris, ITV News.